In this video, 79 patch cables from 32 brands compared and tested. Controversial facts. Does it make sense to pay more for a premium cable? The truth about flat patch cables. Flexibility or stiffness. What are the tone suckers you want to avoid? Making an antenna and capturing the ground loop noise. Signal flow between cables, or why is the isolation important? Sensitivity to mechanical impact. Hit list and shit list. Giveaway time, patch cables for free. And it's all coming up right now.
Hello everyone, here is Max, and finally it is time to take a look inside of the magic box of happiness and check all these beautiful patch cables I was collecting during the last several months. Yes, we really have 79 different patch cables from 32 different brands, and it literally took me months, from February until August, to collect them all, shoot this video and make it all done. And I want to begin with saying big thank you to all those people in companies who had enough balls to send me their cables for testing and made this video possible. Guys, I have no idea what I would do without you. Thank you very much. Here they are: AMT, Bespeco, Cordial, David Laboga, EBS, Hosa Technology, Joyo, Just Music, Klotz, Mitanis, Moyer, Music Meyer, Providence, Roland Meinl, Schnur, Zommer Cable, Sound Service, Syntax, Vovox, Warwick and X5. Thank you very much once again. I also want to say hello to those YouTuber-unfriendly companies which for some reason refused to participate in this festival of life or promised to send me some cables and didn't. Here they are: Dunlop MXR, X-Pro, George Els, Monster Cables, Montreux, Music Store, hello, Oyaide, Proco, Pro-L, Quick Lock and Yorkville Sound. And this is why you will not see most of these cables in this video. Just one more thing. After finishing filming this video and sending cables back to manufacturers and distributors, I still have some pretty awesome cables left, which I don't need, and I will be giving them away free of charge to you. I will explain exactly how it works at the end of this video, so keep watching. And now, let's get started.
We're not gonna be using cables with straight plugs. Why? Because when it comes to pedals, most of the times they are not very practical. Each and every patch cable in this video will have two right-angle plugs. You may be surprised, but every manufacturer has his own vision about 6 inches or 15 centimeters and how long it actually is. All these cables you see right now include 6-inch in their model's name. In other words, when buying 6-inch patch cable, you never know what you're actually getting. Practically, the length of a patch cable tells you how far apart you can put pedals on your pedal board. And this is why we're gonna be measuring it this way, from tip to tip. We've got 57 cables up to 1 foot or 30 centimeters, and 22 cables longer than that. Okay, let's take the measurements, and at the same time I'll let you enjoy some hardcore heavy metal music. Let's go! Imagine you need to fly to get to the next gig. Flight regulations are strict and you can only take certain amount of weight with you. You have 6 pedals and therefore you need 5 patch cables. And this will cost you 389 grams, or this much in pounds. And these are cables alone. Now what if I told you that simply using different cables will let you take one more pedal and one more cable and it will still be cheaper than that? How cool is that? Well, let's check how heavy our cables are, and I will give you the top 10 at the end of this test, in less than 2 minutes from now. And here is the top 10 for the way in. To find out how flexible or stiff our cables are, we're gonna be bending them and twisting them this way. Some cables are flexible in all directions and will let you connect your pedals any way you want. Others take bending well but will fail at twisting. And of course, some will fail at everything. There are several methods to measure the stiffness of a cable, but they all require longer cables and don't really fit to our situation or are very expensive. Finally, I came up with an elegant and effective solution which also makes a perfect practical sense. A stiff cable will push two pedals away from each other. Measuring the final distance between pedals will give us some feeling about the stiffness. As for twisting, we'll be connecting pedals this way. If pedals won't move, the cable is flexible, otherwise it's medium, stiff or very stiff, depending on how far pedals go. If there is no tension or pushing, it is very flexible. To save time, I will show you the worst 5, but you can see test results for all cables on the right. Number 5 is Bespeco SLPP015. With 3.5-inch distance, and it takes twisting pretty well. Number 4, Moore PC8, with a distance of 4 inches, and it's stiff when it comes to twisting. Number 3, Vovox Sonorous Patch 25. It's the same 4 inches, but there is no way to twist it at all. Number 2, Hosa with a very long model name. It managed to push pedals 7 inches away from each other. Don't even think about twisting it. And finally number 1, Monster SP2000. After some bending and twisting, its test result was about 4 inches, but don't let this guy fool you, we have already seen what it's capable of. This so-called tone sucking is directly connected with the capacitance of a cable. The higher it is, the more of a high end of your sound you will lose. Fortunately, we can directly measure this one. For instance, this connector has a capacitance of 8.5 pF. It probably can never get lower than this when you connect in pedals. Let's keep this number in mind. Here's another one, the Rock Board Bender with a capacitance of 14.3 pF, which is almost twice as much as the previous one. To get a better feeling, let's check a couple of long cables. This 10-feet Hosa standard has a capacitance of 320 pF. And this is a premium cable, Klotz Titanium, 4.5 meters, which is about 15 feet, and 343 pF. And here's another one, Providence Studio model, 5 meters and 453 pF. Generally speaking, longer cables have higher capacitance, which means to keep it low, you want your cables to be as short as possible, including patch cables. The capacitance is also influenced by some other factors, like the area of a cross-section of a lead wire, its material, the quality of the ground wire, how far they are apart, and what is happening between them. You can also Google how a capacitor works to get a better understanding about this whole thing. But let's take a look at the numbers. There are quite a few surprises here. Some cheap cables have very low capacitance, like Fender, Harley, Benton, Joyo, some Hosa cables, Rockboard, and others. At the same time, the capacitance of some premium cables is ridiculously high. I'm talking about Monster, Vovox, and Mogami. For example, only 3 Monster Studio patch cables will suck as much tone as a regular 10-feet cable. Together, these 3 cables are shorter than 2.5 feet. Another one worth mentioning is Laboga Mini Coil. Even though I like the idea, and I'm sure some people will fancy it as well, its capacitance is just way too high, and you can actually call it a tone sucker for a reason. And now you can see exactly what I was talking about. Longer versions of the same patch cables have higher capacitance. There is also one mysterious cable, Moer FC16. In any other situation, it was working and performing just like any other patch cable. But in this particular test, for some reason, it shows negative capacitance. This looks really weird to me. I hope Moer will be able to give us some comment on this. And here's the top 10 for the capacitance test.
The next test is called Trial by Stone, because we're going to be using small stone for it. Actually, any true bypass pedal will do, but if you watched my review on small stone, you know that it has some ground issues, which is perfect if you want to use it as a cable tester. Other than that, I have S2 preamp and a modular power supply, which I will put together, 12 volts for S2 and 9 for small stone. I also have some power cables, let's put them together as well. This one goes to the sound card, we want it here. Now let's power it up. We need small stone turned off and no input cable. Everything on S2 is at the maximum. Now, if I put a patch cable between these two, this will create a ground loop, which is some sort of antenna picking up everything it possibly can, especially noise from the power supply. Turns out, some cables pick up much more than the others, and we will see exactly how much at the analyzer right here. Right now, it shows about minus 51 dBs, and if I turn this one off, the noise goes away completely. Before we begin, I want to thank people from AMT Electronics who helped me figuring this all out. Okay, let's get started. Minus 16.1 for Adam Hall. Adam Hall Rolling Stones. .4.
As it was with the capacitance, it's really hard to tell how good or bad a cable performs until you actually test it. Again, some not very expensive cables may surprise you with a pretty low noise in this test. At the same time, you would never expect that some of the thick cables may be noisy as hell.
$5.4. Wow. Where's the noise? 44.1. That's really good. 40.5. That's really cool. Wow. Those Ibanez cables are awesome. Didn't see this coming.
It's really hard to tell what factors are essential here, probably all of them, but it looks like longer cables generally have less noise. Look at this Laboga mini coil.
Wow. 49.5. That is definitely the winner. $5.9. Such a big difference. It's unbelievable.
Looking at Monster, the most expensive one is the most noiseless. Well, it's good to have some logic here.
Oh shit! 5.3. One of the worst so far.
The logic doesn't work with Planet Waves though, with American Stage Cable being the most expensive and the noisiest of all. Talking about flat patch cables, Rockboard happened to have more noise than EBS and Harley Benton.
Good. 49.2. I have to admit, I expected it to be worse than it actually is. So I'm surprised. Good.
X5, a good surprise, very low noise. I expected DiMarzio to do better than this. EBS, well done. The length rule doesn't seem to apply to Ibanez SI and Laboga Blue Demon. Mogami Platinum could probably do a little better.
Providence V206. Look at this. 47.9 was it? Yeah, 47.4. Good.
Check the numbers for Boss and Roland and you will see they are actually different cables. I didn't see this coming.
I completely forgot to have some sort of reference. Let's check this one as well. Okay. No, wait a sec. It must be fair. So it must be exactly the same. Look. Minus 49. That's what it should be.
And here is the top 10 for Trial by Stone.
For the diffusion test and recreating a real-life situation on stage, I will need a few more tools. First of all, an amp. I will be using AMT Stonehead. And a speaker, well, because I don't want it to be very loud, I will be using a loud box instead of a speaker, which is AMT Power Eater. So now I can use a speaker cable, like a real speaker cable, to connect the amp to the load box. Here we go, 8 ohm, 8 ohm. Okay, cool. The load box goes here. The amp goes there. I just need to turn it on. Wait a sec. Yep. Now I'm sending a signal from my computer to the power amp section of the amp. We will have some noise inside of this. We want to fix it on the table with the tape. Now I will need a heater and my favorite S2 preamp, which is connected to my sound card, of course. Well, and now the magic happens. I'll take this cable and connect both pedals together. You cannot hear anything yet, but if I play some sound, some sample, through the amp to the speaker, through this cable, we will hear it here. Let's check it out. Cool, right? It's magic. So that's what the test is about. And this is exactly what is happening on stage with all those power cables and other stuff laying around. All that noise goes into your guitar sound through your guitar cable or through a patch cable. And of course, different cables have different isolation, so some cables let more signal through than the others. This is what we're testing here. Let's check it out. Okay, this is gonna be our noisy noise. You cannot hear it just yet, maybe just a little bit through my mic, because it goes out of the load box. As it was last time, we will be measuring the amount of signal coming through the cable at the analyzer right here. Now it's about -50 something. Now it goes away. Now it's back. So let's begin with this one. Not too bad, -37.4, I guess it was. Yep. Well, these cables do have pretty bad isolation, to be honest, so we probably should hear a lot. Yeah, 7.6. Well, it's not surprising. Look at this. Look at the isolation. I mean, where is the isolation? The gold one, 6.8. Is it even worse? Yeah. It's even worse than the standard one.
Well, as you can see, most of the cables are doing pretty well, unless they are obviously plastic, like this Harley Benton here. What came as a surprise to me is that some very thin cables, like those Ibanez PA, are actually doing really good. It's like you're looking at them and you're thinking, well, they probably have no isolation whatsoever. Well, turns out they do. Another good example is Providence V206. Many not expensive cables are doing pretty good as well, like Fender, Just Music, or shall I say Justin, Thomann and MXR. Planet Wave's CGTP stands out a little bit with its 18.8 dBs. Well, it's all plastic.
Cable I'm very curious about. Yeah, and it's doing good. P203. I'm pretty curious about this one too, because I'm using them on a daily basis right now. 47.2. Oh, that's good.
Talking about flat patch cables, Rockboard seems to be doing a little better than Harley Benton, and EBS is the best of them.
Vovox. Let's take a look at this one. Oh, plastic plugs. Not a good solution. Not a good solution. Get rid of plastic plugs. Look at this. -6.2. That's really bad. I mean, for a cable which is like, what, $50 is it? I don't know. 6.2, that's a disaster. I mean, that's not acceptable. Should not be like that. Okay, yeah, Volvox. A big disappointment, big disappointment.
Here's another funny fact: all plastic Bespeco is doing better than Cordial with metal plugs. If you're trying to choose between DiMarzio and a flat cable, the latter one can probably be a better choice considering other features. I would say that the resistance to diffusion, which we are measuring right now, together with the capacitance, are the most important parameters not only for a patch cable, but for any guitar cable in general. And the good thing is, they are easy to measure. And here is the top 10 for the diffusion of suddenness.
The next test is about mechanical impact. Again, I'll be using S2 and heater, and everything is set to maximum. Now, if I connect them with a patch cable and touch it, you'll hear some noise. Now, I only need to figure out the way how to hit each cable with the same force, in exactly the same way, to keep the test fair. It took me some time until I found this. And every time shit hits the fan hits the cable, we'll see exactly how sensitive the cable is to mechanical impact at the analyzer right here. Let's go! 41.2. Not bad. Next. 46. 43.3. Okay, next.
Most cables are doing really good. Some cheap cables are performing even better than the premium ones. But I have to say that mechanics are much more important for those 10 or 20 feet guitar cables rather than for patch cables.
Can you hear that? I just touch it, and just because it is plastic, there's some hum going on. And here as well. Okay, let's check how sensitive it is. 5.8, wow, that's really bad. 5.7, shit!
Apparently, as a manufacturer, you need to be very creative to screw this one up. EBS has introduced flat cables to the market, and it seems like Harley, Benton and Rock Board managed to push this idea even further. As a result, they totally suck in this test.
Whoa! 10.
It's really hard to tell what is wrong with Ultramafic, because it is not particularly thin and it's doing pretty well in other tests. Just as I said, you need to be very creative to screw this one up, because even some old plastic cables like Pro Bulk are doing better in this test. Talking about flat cables again, shorter versions seem to have better results than the longer ones, for Rockboard and Harley Benton at least. With regular cables it's not the case. They tend to have constant performance regardless of the length. I actually had a strange problem with the longer version of Cordial CFI. It has rewound plugs, made of metal, look very solid, and for some reason both didn't work, in a way that there was no contact between sleeve of the jack and ground of the cable. Took me some time to fix it. At the same time, the shorter version worked just fine.
Lava Mini Ultramafic. Okay, the short one was somehow not the best cable in terms of mechanical isolation. How about this one? Uh, 9388. Ooh. Yeah, this one is as bad as the short one. Mogami Platinum. It would be interesting to compare it to the gold one. $46.3. This is really good.
In fact, it was the best result. Providence is doing traditionally well, and German Sommer cable as well. Actually, the RTR9M has shown pretty good results in all tests. And here's the top 10 for Shit Hits the Fan. After all these tests, you may ask, what is the best cable? And I will tell you, it doesn't exist. Choosing the right patch cable is always a compromise, and what is good for my pedalboard may not necessarily be good for yours. It's up to you to choose what you want: flexibility, lightweight, or perfect isolation. Sadly, most of the times they don't come together. Still, I was able to put together a list of good cables, which will perform well no matter what. They all have capacitance of less than 50 pF, which means they don't suck too much tone. They also had results better than -30 dBs in diffusion and Shit Hits the Fan tests. I call them cables safe to use. And of course, opposite to that, another list of cables. I call them cables likely to cause problems. They have very high capacitance or poor results in the diffusion test. To help you make better decisions about patch cables, I'll publish all test results as a PDF file and give you a link to it in the description to this video.
Alright, you've been waiting for this moment during the whole video. A giveaway time. I have 3 sets. Set number 1. 6 Klotz vintage cables. Set number 2. 2 Klotz Lagrange cables. These are the short ones. Set number 3. 2 more Klotz Lagrange cables. These are the longer ones. Each set is worth about $60 or something. To get one of these sets, you need to do 4 things. Number 1. Like this video. Number 2. Subscribe to my channel. Number 3. Share this video. And finally, number 4. Write me on giveaway@maxsolar.de. Don't forget to send me the link you shared and your YouTube name. I'll keep you updated about this giveaway on my Facebook page and in the description below. What happens next? As soon as this video gets, let's say, 10,000 views or my channel gets 1,000 subscribers, Charlotte and I will randomly choose 3 new happy owners for these patch cables, and I will pay shipping no matter where they are. Or if you want to help me pay in shipping, I'll give you a Patreon link below, where you can make a little donation which will not only support this giveaway, but the whole channel and will help me make more content like this. And yeah, I actually have some pedals I want to get rid of, so this is probably not the last giveaway I'm doing. So stay tuned, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye!